Alright, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another collaboration beer. This time between Perennial Artisan Ales, and they are out of St. Louis, Missouri, and the Logboat Brewing Company, and they are out of Columbia, Missouri, and this is their Anchor Management. So they're calling this one a double dry hopped hazy IPA that comes in at 7% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed. Time of review, I don't know exactly how old this can is, but it does have a best by date of January 20th of 2024. And I did check their Instagram, and it looks like they released this one towards the end of October. So if I had to guess, this one was probably canned around October 20th of 2024. They probably give 3 months best by date, but I don't know for sure. But according to the brewery, we should be fine because we're about 5 weeks away from the best by date. And I want to give a huge thanks and shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and viewer of the channel, Curtis, for this beer. So huge thanks to him. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies that Curtis hooked me up with. And he hooked me up with 5 different St. Louis area beers, 2 of which were from Perennial. And this is the second and final that I am reviewing. The first one was their Inverted World. It was supposed to be a West Coast style IPA that kind of drank more like a hybrid of a West Coast and like a hazy. It was good, just not true to style. And this is the second one. And I have never heard of a Logboat, but you know, I love trying new breweries. Now, they do have the hops on here and the grist. So hops they're using is Motueka, YCH Trial 303, Lemondrop and Waimea, and then the grist is 2-row flaked oat, flaked wheat, and Cara Pils. Now, I did look up the YCH Trial 303 just because I have no idea what that is. And it's basically Yakima Chief hops. They are doing like an experiment, and they're basically blending cryo hops with Phantasm. So this specific blend has Simcoe, Mosaic, Citra, cryo hops along with Phantasm. So I think that's pretty cool. And Phantasm is like a powder, a thiol derived from white grapes. So yeah, anyway, I'm really looking forward to this one. I think Curtis drank this one definitely in the last month, but maybe a couple weeks ago, I forget at this point. And he loved it, but I don't think he was like super like over the moon for this one, but he definitely enjoyed it. So yeah, that has that beautiful hop custard look to it. Shout out Christopher. And it has about a half finger of a beautifully creamy off-white colored head. Yeah, very murky and turbid. Hold it up to the light. Can't see anything through that. Definitely 100% plays the role for what you're looking for out of a hazy IPA. Let's get a nose. Ooh, that's interesting. What the fuck? Wow. And I'm saying wow because this has what the? It has such a substantial earthiness. Like, it is really earthy, like extremely earthy. And I'm not talking about like this is like too green or anything. Like, it has, yeah, it's like you're planting something into the soil, and you're like, just your face is close to the dirt, but whatever plant you're working with, just that kind of fresh, kind of like soil, almost garden aroma. Wow, that smells interesting. There is definitely some citrus here, more of like a tangerine, ruby red grapefruit. A touch of like a honeydew melon. You know what? Cantaloupe. I don't say cantaloupe a lot. I'm not a huge cantaloupe guy. I love honeydew, love watermelon. Cantaloupe, I could take it or leave it. But this has like the cantaloupe as you're getting closer to the rind. Yeah. Yeah, but very earthy. There's a floral kind of greenness to it. This is, I mean, nowadays with all of these crazy hazies, whether it's a pale ale or an IPA, double IPA, triple IPA, double dry hop, triple dry hop, well, all the crazy hops are using Phantasm, Cryo, Lupo Max, this and that. It's hard to kind of stand out from the crowd, at least from an aroma standpoint, but most of the time a taste standpoint. This is very different in the aroma, and I don't know if it's different in a good way, because it's so, again, earthy and soil-esque that it reminds me of a lot of those old school like English hops where it's very earthy. It doesn't have that like copper coin kind of tinge, but it's just very earthy. Anyway, it smells good, smells different. We'll see. Anyway, let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Curtis. Yes, there's such a weird kind of tinge to this one. It's not bad. It's just so different to my palate. This is kind of a weird one. All right, let's go body mouthfeel because that's the easiest thing to get out of the way. Buying this one 7%, it's nice. Medium, touch over medium, appropriate. The mouthfeel is not spectacular, but it's still solid for what it is. It has somewhat of a softness. This is mild to moderately carbonated, more approaching moderately carbonated. So it's a little bit softer. Again, it's a hazy, so you want it to be a little softer. It does have a nice smoothness to it, but not really creamy whatsoever. Still, by mouthfeel, pretty nice. The taste, forefront, a little bit of like a bready kind of malt character, dives underneath the palate. After that, citrus. It's tangerine. It's ruby red grapefruit. There might even be like a little lemon lime kind of tinge from the Motueka. Yeah, definitely citrus heavy. Passes through the palate. I'm getting, again, cantaloupe into like a slight honeydew melon, but it's more cantaloupe. But it's a sweeter cantaloupe, which is kind of, if I'm eating cantaloupe, I definitely want it like over ripened. I want it sweeter. But it has like the rind of the cantaloupe too. But then on the finish, that earthiness hits. And it's, again, it's like nothing I've experienced. Now, I've reviewed almost 2,000 beers on this channel. I have consumed myself, you will say, unique beers, probably closer to like 7,000 or 8,000. I've never had an earthiness like this. Again, it's very soil-esque. It's like, again, you're on your hands and knees in a garden, you're planting, and you're just that fresh garden tinge from the dirt to the actual plants. It just has that soil / earthy / garden floral kind of feeling to it. And it is weird. It's different. Can't taste the ABV at 7%, which is nice. While it doesn't have like a substantial bitterness, it's like mildly bitter, it does have a semi to full on dry finish. And because the finish is that earthy soil kind of thing going on, it definitely stops it from being too sweet. This is actually well balanced, maybe even a little bit leaning unbalanced towards the drier / earthy side of things where there's not a ton of sweetness here, which I'm fine with. You know, at this point, I think I'd rather have my beers be a little bit too bitter rather than sweet. This is a fucking strange hazy. Strange hazy. Now, I don't know if it's that YCH Trial 303 going on here. A lot of times with the Phantasm, you'll get a big blast of like white grapes and tropical fruit and over the top. I really didn't get that here. Could be the Lemondrop. I'm not really getting a substantial lemon. Waimea, I don't have a lot. So this is honestly one of the most unique hop combos I've ever had. Motueka, YCH Trial 303, Lemondrop and Waimea. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't necessarily love this one, but I don't hate it. It's just, I'm having trouble understanding it, for lack of a better word. One more sip and then we'll lock in a rating. I got to give it something. So I think this is like my first hazy from Perennial, like true hazy. And it's not bad. It's just different. But it's different in a way that I don't necessarily love, but I do enjoy it to some degree. So Anchor Management, the collab between Perennial and a Logboat, I'm going to have to give this a... I'll go high 3.75 and go 3.8. I think that's where this one lands for me. That earthiness and that finish is just kind of throwing me for a loop, and it might take me to the end of the glass to realize whether or not I really enjoy that one. Right now, I'm saying that it's kind of, I don't know, is it off-putting? It's not really off-putting. It's just so different that, again, I don't love it, but it's still fun and unique. This is a fun beer, and I say this a lot, like, even if a beer's bad, if it was fun to try, if it was something different, then that, for me, is all that matters. And I think this is a fun beer regardless of my final score and what I truly think about this one. And I think this is just a fun beer in general. So yeah, anyway, price point availability, I believe, Curtis, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he said there was $16 a 4-pack, so $4 can typically what a lot of breweries are charging nowadays for a 7% double dry hopped hazy IPA. So I'm fine with it. And availability, I have no idea. Perennial, you probably can go to their website and figure out, they probably have a beer finder, and if not, then I really don't know, because we here in the Buffalo, New York area, we get Perennial stuff, and by stuff I mean Abraxas. It's all we get. They're big, Mexican style Imperial Stout. That's all we get now. We used to get a bunch of different stuff from them, so I don't see anything else outside of that, so I can't really speak to their availability. But if you do see this one on the shelves in the next month, give it a go if you're curious about that earthiness or you want to try something different, because this is, again, very unique for what it is. So if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. I really want to hear your guys' feedback. I saw Curtis's check-in, but again, it's on Untappd, you're a couple sentences, so I'm sure, Curtis, you'll post something in the comment section about what you thought about this one. But I'm very curious to hear what others thought about this one, if they had it. It's different. It's very, very different, and I respect that it's different, but I also don't love it, so it is what it is. But huge thanks to Curtis for this one. Thanks to everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.